Hello, everybody. It's Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly vlog for Tuesday, December the 27th, 2022, and it's episode 198. And I hope everybody had a great Christmas. We did too. It was a little bit tiring, getting things together. We hosted Christmas dinner here, and I was a little sore yesterday after Christmas Day from running around. I'm old. Next year, caterers. Okay, so let's jump right into my current projects. And here is the bookshelf wall hanging, quilt wall hanging. It's a wall hanging, too thick for a quilt. However, this is one I started the first of this year, I think. And well, I just worked on it on and off throughout the year. And it's been hanging over my head as a UFO for quite some time. And excuse me, still got turkey in my throat. Um, yeah, I've been working on this in bits and pieces for over the past year. And I finally want to get it out of my hair and get it done and completely finished. And so it is. So you can see this is actually an In the Hoop project. You've heard me talk about In the Hoop projects before if you're a regular subscriber. And I love doing In the Hoop projects, but they do take a lot of time. And it can get a little tedious as you're working on things. But the end result is usually worth it, and in this case, it certainly was. It's an interesting wall hanging because there are, I don't know if you can make it out in the picture, but the books are labeled. Not all of them are labeled, but some of them are, and they're labeled with certain titles that mean something to me. And yeah, some of them are just generic titles as well, which were part of the design, but you could go in and customize the design if you wish. And I did add some things, there's the sewing things under arts and crafts. There is a clock, and the clock kind of represents my fixation with organization and scheduling and things like that. Yeah, I'm a little OCD. Is it OCD? Yeah, that's it. And of course, you can see travel is represented here as well with the globe. And there is some gardening. Now, I do not profess to be absolutely in love with gardening. I'm not, but I am in love with, doing my philodendrons. And of course, lately, the grow lights as well. And you'll see there's a couple of kitties in this as well because I love cats. And that particular cat design that I added really reminds me a lot of our little princess when she was still around, Cleo, because she was fluffy white with only just a little marking of brown on her forehead. Anyways, I don't want to talk too much more about Cleo because I'll cry because I still miss her, and it's been pretty much 8 years since she's been gone. Of course, you will notice there are a couple of decanters in this as well with a glass. Didn't have a wine bottle. That would have been more appropriate. Um, the trophy thing was in as one of the blocks. Yeah. Winner, I think that's more sarcastic than anything else. And then there's some Shakespeare titles in here, photos, it says on the books, quilts, of course, embroidery, crochet, because I used to do that. Yeah. So really, this quilt has a lot going with it. With one of my guests that were here for Christmas dinner looked at it and said, "Oh yeah, that's pretty much you on that." So yeah, so this is definitely something that has some personal memories built into it. Okay, and I did this. This is one of the Missouri Star quilt um, kits that came in the Missouri Star box that I got this year. And yeah, I really liked this. It was simple, it was fast. I did it within a few hours. Um, and I really like it. And it is applique. The words are applique, but the beauty of this kit was that all of those applique letters had been pre-cut, a laser cut, and they're already backed with, the steam seam or whatever they're using, the fusible web stuff. And so it was really easy to put it on. And I decided to do it. It is a blanket stitch I went around with, but I used Invisifil, which is sort of an invisible thread. And I've never really worked with invisible thread before. And I have to say, it sews wonderfully. It's great. I mean, if you remember, there's other invisible threads you can get, and I had some of that and threw it out. It was like fish line, and it just tangles up in everything. This does not. It sews very, very nicely. And there was a suggestion in the pattern book saying, or I think it was actually Jenny herself said she went around it with black thread so the letters would stand out more. And I was going to do that until I saw Chris O'Neill's video about this, because she did this and she did the recommendation. She used a zigzag stitch, I believe, or a satin stitch in black, and she was not happy with the end result. And yeah, that scared me. And I decided, no, I'm not taking the chance. I like this, and I think I made the right choice by using the Invisifill. The letters are bold in their style and in their color, and it stands out very well. So I don't think it needs an outline. And as far as quilting was concerned, I used just a white thread and did a simple walking foot serpentine stitch across it. And yeah, I really like it. I think it turned out really quite nice, and it looks great in my sewing room. And by the way, it does hang straight. That's just me and my picture taking ability. So that those two things kept me busy for a while, and I am busy with one other thing, and that is the Stephanie Stitch's Mosaic Star quilt. And I have a little video to insert in here for you right now showing it on Lucy, because it's all pieced. I think I mentioned that last week, and and it is now finished quilted. What you're going to see in the video is just the pattern that I'm using and the quilt itself on the machine. And I have to say, I'm very happy with myself this time with my Lucy quilting, because I didn't have any problems. I guess I'm getting better at this. So I'll insert that little video for you here. So on Lucy right now, I have the Mosaic Star quilt pattern by Stephanie Stitches. And you can see I have it all laid out here. And this is the pattern that I have picked. And I alternated the rows so that one row is up and one row is down to give it that mirrored image effect. And here's what it looks like as the machine is quilting it. And I think it's going to look really good. Here you can see a little bit of the back right here. I did the back in a dark gradient blue, and I'm using gold thread for this. I think it's going to look really nice with this pattern. I wanted something that would fill in the white space on here, and at the same time not take away from the design in the fabrics that I chose, because I love these fabrics. And that's why this pattern is so great, because it really enhances the fabric. The fabric is the showpiece here. And although the quilting is sort of curvy and very open, it doesn't take away from the overall effect, I think, in the stars of the pattern. So that's what I'm doing with this right now. So today's plan is to make the binding for that quilt and get started binding it. And by the end of this week or sooner, I should have that quilt completely finished. And I'll show it to you later. Actually, I'm going to show it to Stephanie first, because I think Stephanie and I are going to compare our versions of her pattern, because she, of course, has hers all done. Well, yeah, she made the pattern, right? So she had to test it. But anyways, so that'll be coming up at some point in time, and more about Stephanie in a minute. But first of all, I want to show you something else that I got for Christmas, and I'm absolutely thrilled with this. My sister is a cross stitcher, has done cross stitching for many, many years. I would say she is a master cross stitcher, and she makes many, many intricate and beautiful patterns. They're absolutely gorgeous, and she does such a variety of things. At Halloween, she made these pillows that were like really, really nice. I think those were for her kids. And Oh, she's done wall hangings and the themes. My sister picks things that are unusual. They're not just cute little animals or things like that. And so she gifted to me for Christmas this very gorgeous wall hanging. She had got it all framed and everything like that. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful and perfect. And it's hanging in a prominent place in my sewing room, right behind my sewing machine on the wall. So people will see this when I'm doing Zoom sew days and things like that. But you can see it's got all these words that are associated with quilting. In fact, my sister's not a quilter, so she had to ask me about a few of these words, what they meant, like HST and WOF. So I explained to her half square triangles with the fabric. But I love it. I absolutely love it. And I notice up here in one corner, and this is the design, okay? But as if you're a quilter, you'll know what I mean. You notice the star points are cut off. And although that's part of the design, and my sister didn't do that on purpose or anything, I think it's kind of funny because we've all know when we first started quilting and we got into half square triangles and stars and our points, and we probably cut off our points, didn't we? When we were first making quilts. I know I certainly did. So I find that sort of tongue-in-cheek kind of thing. I'm pretty sure this was not designed for that intention because it's just the edge of the pattern, right? But anyways, I'm going to pretend that it has that little extra meaning in it. I just love it. I absolutely love it. And she also made this. Keep calm and bind that quilt. I couldn't think of anything more appropriate because most of us are not fans of binding. I know a few of you are. I don't mind doing it once I get into it, but only because it means I'm getting close to the end of finishing that particular project. But I thought that was really appropriate. So I have it hanging off one of my vision boards, which is a fancy name for bulletin board, by the way. And I love it too. Now she said she said started out that she was going to make it into like a pin cushion, but she didn't. Well, you could still use it as a pin cushion, but I don't want to stick pins in this. It's too beautiful to do that to it. So it's hanging on my vision board where I can see it and yeah, do what it says when I'm binding. So yeah, that those two things really thrilled me. They really did. Okay, so what else? All right, well, we have finished, of course, Christmas, and we have finished the Advent boxes on YouTube. And so I thought I'd do a quickie review of the Missouri Star quilt box and determine, well, was it worth it? Well, let me just find, I took some pictures of the stuff that was in it. And let me get it up here for you. Okay, so in this picture, you can see all the different items. Now, I want to remind you that this box was $169 American, but with taxes, the exchange rate, shipping, duty, all that, it cost me 308 Canadian dollars. So yes, pricey box. So did I get my money's worth? Well, what are the things here in this picture that I like and what I don't like? Well, you knew I was thrilled by this binder that has these sleeves for holding patterns. I do love this and I am using it. I'm using it to put in the patterns I find that I want to do this year and donate to Project Linus. However, there are some problems with this binder. One, it's these inserts. You'll notice it's holding one of the Missouri Star quilt patterns in it, and they fit very well in it. This pattern, by the way, was one of the things in the box, and I'll probably make this. I really like this pattern. However, these pockets will only hold the Missouri Star quilt once because Missouri quilt patterns are usually only one page folded in half. I tried to get multiple pages in one of these, cannot do it. And even putting in two, I think Jenny says you could get two Missouri Star quilt patterns in it. Now you're fighting with it to do that. You can't. Now I did go onto Missouri Star Quilt's website to see if I could get more of these for it, and you can't. Not from them. But they did direct me to an American website. I think it's called Keeper Files or Keep Files, something like keepfiling.com, I think it was. And yes, you could buy some there. But again, this is an American company. I'm Canadian, blah, blah, blah. So I went on Amazon and I did find some inserts, page protectors that would fit this size of album, and they hold more. So I bought some of those and I put them in. Now I tried to make my own, and I did. You can, because I have a ton of 8.5 by 11 page protectors, so it's easy enough to cut them down and to basically sew an edge onto them, and that'll work as well. But I bought some that fit. So that's my one criticism of this gift, but I loved it. However, I have to say this, and I don't know if I'm right or wrong, and it's not really a criticism of Missouri Star Quilt, but I'm wondering if they had these especially made for them. Well, they have their logo on it and everything like that, some time ago, and got them and realized that there is this drawback to them in terms of what they can hold. And so maybe they decided they had a lot of these, people weren't buying them. Maybe. I don't know. And so they decided to include them in the box. Either way, excuse me, I'm not complaining about it with just a little constructive criticism. So I think it's a great idea. I think Missouri Star Quilt should revisit it, and I think they should redesign the size of the page protectors. Okay. Now, I did, of course, get some fabric. This was great. This pattern, I'm going to do that at some point with this fabric. Loved it. It all fits together. Um, this pattern, I have love and hate ideas with it. It goes with the buttons. And I said this in the unboxings with Stephanie, that they really thought about how to interrelate each of the component parts. Will I make this? I don't think I probably will. I might use the fabric for something different, because it's just too many buttons for me. I don't know. Maybe I will. We'll see. This is the wall hanging that I already showed you, and these were the component parts of it. And again, you see you had the Kona cottons you got in the box. They go with this. It was all curated. Love the little box with the zipper. It'll come in handy for things. So that was a definite yes. I was really excited when I opened this up and found this fabric bolt or wraparound holder, and the clips and everything. I thought, yes, great idea. It's made from acrylic. It's really nice, and I don't think I'm going to use them, because they don't hold that much fabric. You have to take your fabric, and when it comes off the bolt, it's already folded in half, salvage to salvage. And then usually when we store it, we have to fold it again. Okay, but even folding it again, it will wrap around a comic book board very nicely, and that's what I use to store my fabrics. But I have to fold it one more time to put it on one of these, and that makes it really thick and bulky. These clips are supposed to, and whether maybe I'm using them wrong, but are supposed to hold the fabric. Yeah, at the most 2 layers of fabric. I tried to get them open. They're very strong. They're very substantial, and get them to clip all the fabric I put on that bolt, and I didn't put that much on, and yeah, no, that didn't work very well. Maybe these will come into handy for something else, but I don't think I'm going to be using these for what they're intended. Now, I could see myself possibly using it for, when you're getting a project together, you cut your fabric for that, and maybe for the amount of fabric that I'm cutting. There's 3 of these acrylic boards. I might use them in that and keep them together for the project, but I won't use them for storing my fabric. They're just not designed properly for that, for practical use. So that was a bit of a disappointment when I figured that out. Now, maybe some of you have some of these, and maybe you use them very successfully. I suppose you could wrap a fat quarter around them, but fat quarters already are folded nicely usually when you get them, and are easy to store. So I don't know. So yeah, a little bit of a disappointment. This is just stupid. I'm sorry. And I've watched other people pulling this out too, and they're looking at it and they're going, yeah, why? I'm not 10 years old, because that's what it's really geared towards. If you have grandchildren or children or something at an age and you want to get them started in sewing, yeah, give this to them. They'll have fun with it. It makes a little purse. It's leather. It's pre-punched. You have thread. One person did it. I think it was Chris O'Neill on hers, and she says, I don't know if I sewed it wrong or what. She says, but there wasn't enough thread to finish it. Um, as far as I'm concerned, this was a completely useless thing in the box. And you know, you're going to get some things that don't suit your purposes in it, and that's fine. But this was a big disappointment. So is this for me. If you are a hand embroiderer, you probably would love it, but there's a couple of reasons why this was a no-go for me. One, I don't do hand embroidery. Now, I might try this just to see, but then you make these little keychains and little necklace thing with it. Again, this is something I think was geared more towards a child. That you might want to get into sewing a little bit. But for me, no. The jar of buttons was at first, well, pretty, yeah, on my shelf, but it came with instructions for turning this into a pincushion. I haven't done that yet, but when I saw that with it, I thought, okay, that ups the ante a little bit on that particular gift. So what? Out of all these ones that are here, this is not everything in the box, but there's definitely one, two, um, that no, were no-goes for me. There's a couple of maybes, and then some that, yeah, they're great. Let's move over to the rest of the stuff. All right, let's look at the top up here. The little house. It's a cute little Christmas tree ornament. It would mean more to me if I've actually had been to Missouri Star because, it's one of the buildings. I think it's their first building or something like that. And it's got the mural on the back of it or something on it. I don't mind this at all. It was fine because I have a collection of little houses and it's now sitting in amongst my other ones. Mug, loved it. This is great. It's a nice size mug. It's a good quality mug. I will definitely use it. That's a go. Fingernail art stickers? I don't think so. And I don't have anybody in my family that would wear these either. Again, they're cute. I think they're more geared towards a kid or somebody who's, is still a child at heart, maybe. Um, but not for me. A threader, this came with I probably separated them up. I think was these needles, these John James hand sewing needles. Okay. An extra little threader, that's okay. That's always handy to have. And these are handy to have as well. And apparently these are, I was told by Stephanie, she says this brand is a very good brand of needles. So that's okay. Even though I don't hand sew, you still, there are times when you kind of have to, and it's good to have a good set of needles. The threads I love. These are great. This fabric, this very linen-like fabric, I think this was Japanese. I actually used it as the backing for the wall hanging. Very nice quality fabric. That was a go. And the beeswax, it's cute in its design. Looks like a little spool, but believe it or not, I do use beeswax occasionally on threads. So that's a good thing to have. So I was happy with that. The tray that you see here was the very last gift. At first, it was a letdown. I looked at it and said, yeah, it's a pretty tray, but it's a tray, you know? But now I'm thinking, well, no, think outside the box. You don't have to serve smart cocktails on this tray. You can. You can use this when you got little bits and pieces, when you're doing applique or something like that, or a project. A lot of people I know use trays to lay out their project pieces. I have little design boards I made, but well, right now I'm using this for a current applique project that I'm working on. So yeah, that was okay. At first, but it's okay. This I'm loving. This is where it's a thread cutter, you're doing some chain piecing. It's a little guillotine kind of a thing. I have one, not like this though. One I bought a long time ago. You may have seen them. They're kind of rectangular in shape, purple in color, at least mine is. And I bought it when I first went into quilting, never used it. But this I have been using because you put your used blades in it from your rotary cutter, and It works really well. So I actually have it sitting next to my sewing machine so I can reach for it. So that's a go. This is a neat thing. You know, even though I hate hand sewing, what this is you preload your, I think it holds 10 needles with thread, and they all sit in here very nicely and they don't get tangled up the way it's designed. And it's great to have that readily. You know, you lose a button, you got to do a quick sew job. There's something there available. Thing is, I already have one, but that's okay. Two are good. I asked Walter if he wanted one. I got poo-pooed on that. But this is a decent gift. Uh, who can't use a chalk marking pencil? I do use these, so that was great. Iron cleaner. I don't use this kind, but that's not to say this isn't good. The reason I don't use this kind in the tube is because it gets in your steam holes and you got to clean those out. I did a video showing you this. This is the quilting and crafting spray. I compared it to the one I use all the time, Acorn Precision Pressing Solution, and this works really, really well. So yeah, that's good. This thing they're sitting on, and I call it a thing, it's a perpetual calendar. It's cute, but I'm digital. So for me, this is useless. Also, there's no place to write anything. You might be able to stick some sticky notes to it. It will use up desk space. My desk space is at a premium. So for me, this was a no-go. And similarly, the iron-on quilt labels. If you're somebody who, you know, doesn't like making your own quilt labels really, or you want something different, this has lots of cute things in it. And that's the operative word for me, cute. I'm not into cute unless it's a gnome. But I can see people using it. You can colorize them with fabric markers and things like that. I have my own labels that I had made, and that's what I use. So it's okay. It's not something I would pick up if I saw it on the shelf in a store, but as a gift in the box, I think it's worthwhile. This, I will do this. I will try it. It involves hand sewing. It's red work. Is it cute? Well, actually, the picture doesn't show it off that well because I think Chris O'Neill on her channel has already done it, and it did look a little nicer when it's completed. So I'll do it. You know, you want something for a little different. Plus, you know, again, maybe I should be working on my hand sewing skills, and maybe that'll help. This is great. Rotary cutter and scissor keepers. It did. What would have made this even better is if it came with this fabric, because I love this fabric. It didn't, but it did come with the hardware, the magnetic snaps, and it's two projects. One makes a rotary cutter, and the other one makes a scissor keeper. And yeah, I will do this project, and I'll use it. This would be great when you're going off to a retreat or to a class or something like that to protect your rotary cutter and your scissors. So I think that's the only picture. Yeah. So those are all the items. Plus, got to remember the box it all came in. I love that box, and I've kept the box. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet. At one point, I thought I'd put all my fat quarters in it. I might still do it, except it's a little too big for my shelf where I keep things now. But I kept the box because it's a really nice box. So overall, what is my estimation of this? Will I buy it again? I love it. Yes, I'm being super critical about some of the products that were in it, and I'm doing it from my preferences. Somebody else would love those things that I didn't get a big thrill out of, and that's fine. But what I loved about this box and why I would buy it again, even though it is pricey for me in Canada, is I really think I got my money's worth. And again, Chris O'Neill did a whole breakdown of the price in American dollars for it. And second of all, I absolutely loved opening these up. It was exciting. It was fun. And so for me, the value of this box isn't so much in the actual monetary value of each of the items in it. It's more for the value of the excitement, the thrill, the anticipation, all of that good stuff for it. So yes, I think the Missouri Star Quilt box is a winner. Okay. So that takes me then to what I have mentioned Stephanie a few times. You have written to us to tell us how much you enjoyed our unboxing of the Missouri Star Quilt box together, and everything. And I really have enjoyed doing that with Stephanie. I really like Stephanie. I think she is a brilliant quilter. I think she's a creative genius and just a all-round really nice person. So, we're not breaking up our relationship. We are going to carry on in the new year, and we've got some collaborative projects planned together, and we have a project planned with a couple of other quilters as well. I'm not going to say too much about this now, but there will be an announcement of this in the new year of what we have planned. I'll give you a hint. One is a sew-along sort of thing. We're working out the details right now, and we will make the announcement jointly very soon. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so we're moving into New Year is coming up, and I hope everybody has a happy New Year, whatever you're going to do. But I thought, New Year's is the time for reflection on the past year. And I know some of you probably do make resolutions. And as quilters, we probably make resolutions to get things done or projects we want to tackle and things like that. Of course, I don't make resolutions because I never keep them. And I think I'm not alone in that. But I decided just to take a look at sort of a year-end review of what I've accomplished in the last year. And actually, I'm impressed myself. I have a little journal, and with each project I finish, I write that project down, what it is, and whether I gifted it or not, and also what type of project. Was it a quilt, a table runner, a wall hanging, that kind of thing? And when I completed it, I put the date in there as well. So I went back into my journal and I did some counting. And here are my stats. So I made 24 quilts in the last year. Yeah, 24 quilts. I can't believe it. That's a lot. I made 19 table runners. I made 8 placemats, 12 napkins. Sounds like and a partridge in a pear tree. Embroidery projects. I did 6 embroidery projects, major embroidery projects. I made 8 wall hangings / banners. I made 13 bags. My total projects, 90. I made 90 projects. 91 this week if you count the Mosaic Star quilt that I am about to bind. I was a busy boy. I really was. I sew every day. Every day I do some sewing. But I didn't realize I'm like a factory putting these things out. My own little sweat mill, and or sweatshop, and I'm the head sweater in there. So yeah, talk about being prolific, which gives me a new problem. I'm amassing a lot of this stuff. I gave away a lot of it at Christmas this year. I gave away most of the Christmas quilts I made this year because I've got enough Christmas quilts that I put out at Christmas time. I gave away some table runners. I gave away some placemat sets and napkins and things like that. They were all part of my Christmas sewing. But I still have a lot of quilts sitting here. So that's where Project Life comes in. Project Life. I keep wanting to say Project Life. It's from my scrapbooking days. Project Linus. That's where that comes in. Because my intent now is to think more about the quilts that I make in the next year in terms of, are they suitable for Project Linus, to go to that. And I'm also going to be a little bit more proactive about gifting quilts to people as well. So yeah. And but I just can't believe how much I actually did. So yeah, I don't know. Is that a good thing? Or does that mean I'm obsessed? Well, I know I'm obsessed. But anyways, I do have projects planned for the coming year. And I also mentioned in my video last week the little app that I have on my phone to help me keep track of those as well. So yeah, it's going to be another year that's productive, I hope. Um, okay, so that takes me to subscribers quilt of the week. And it's funny. I didn't really have any more uh subscribers quilts to show you this week, and then out of the blue came Janice, who submitted this one, and that's great. And yeah, submit them, please. Remember my um guidelines? No more than 2 pictures, no more than 50 words describing it, please. But yeah, so please send me stuff again, because this is my last one I've got now. I need something for next week's video. But here's Janice, and I want to say Janice's name correctly, so let me look at it. Janice Barrera. 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 Okay, sorry, Janice. This week's quilt of the week comes from Janice Barrera, and Janice writes, "Here is a quilt top I just finished. I had put it together all wrong and was going to throw it away. But us quilters throw nothing away, so I decided to fix it. So here it is. Some embroidery, applique, and there you go." So yeah, that's often very true, that we work on a project and we just lose interest in it because, well, we think it's full of mistakes or it's ugly or whatever. But sometimes if you put it away for a little while and just come back to it, you can make it work. And that's what Janice has done right here with this quilt top. It's very colorful. It looks like it would make a great kids quilt. Because of the images that are on it. But you can see what you can do. You can add a little applique that spruces it up, add a little embroidery, and away you go. So before you discard one of your quilts that you're not really pleased with, put it away, come back to it after a week or two, and rethink it. And you'd be surprised at how you can take something that you didn't think was going to work into something that will work. Thank you, Janice, for sharing this with us. It's gorgeous. So that takes me to the YouTube channel of the week. And this is one I just recently came across, and it's called Purple Cottage Crafts. This week's YouTube channel is actually by somebody who does so much more than just textile and quilting and sewing projects. She does a lot of very interesting things. It's Purple Cottage Crafts. And I have already reached out to the owner of this YouTube channel for an interview, so I'm hoping in the near future I will be able to conduct that. But in the meantime, you really need to check out her YouTube channel. So as you can see here, there is a good variety of all kinds of things. You have vintage postcards. You have fabric banner tutorial, paper napkin to canvas. Well, let's just check out her playlists, for example. This might give us a little better idea of what we've got. Temporary craft area, echo dyeing. This is the one that I discovered that really got me interested in this YouTube channel. Cutting up thrifted clothing. Lots of ideas there that you could use in your quilting or in your sewing. Vintage fabrics and textiles. Craft room organization. Who doesn't need to see another video about something like that? Because we all have a desire to have the most perfect of sewing areas or crafting areas. Rust dyeing, vintage fabrics and linens. I'm just picking out the ones that deal with textiles, but there's so much more here as well. DIY home decor. So you can see there is a wide variety of creative things, and most quilters and sewers probably do more than just quilt and sew. So this would be very appropriate to check out for inspirational ideas or for techniques. So if you're one of those people who likes to do lots of creative things, then you need to check out Purple Cottage Crafts. Okay, so future projects. Well, since we're moving into a new year, 2023, I thought I would talk to you a little bit about what I have planned, with things that I would like to get done. Will I get them done? Maybe, maybe not, because, squirrel. I see something else and I go, oh, I would like to do that. And so I drop this one and go to that one. So for me, it's very amazing that I don't have as any UFOs hanging around, per se, because I'm always working on multiple projects. But anyways, I made a little video talking about what I have planned for 2023. This week, instead of presenting a pattern that I have in my stash that I want to do, I thought I'd go over what my creative plans are for the next year. Now, I've already listed everything I accomplished last year, which even for me, that surprised me that I was able to have finished that many projects. Do you think I'm obsessed? I think I'm obsessed. But you want to know something? I enjoy every moment of it. So I showed you last week the what do you want to call it? The app. Yeah, use your words. The app that called what is it called? It's called Quilt Journal. Oops. Right there on the screen. Quilt Journal. And it is where you can list all of your projects that you're going to do in the next year and add details to it. So what I did was I sat down for half an hour, went through all my project boxes, went through some patterns and things like that, and I tried to create a list of potential projects that I want to complete in 2023. And I'll just read you my list. A double wedding ring, one. Now, I always said I was never going to make a double wedding ring, but then AccuQuilt has a die for that. The reason I didn't want to make a double wedding ring is because I really don't like sewing curves. But I thought by having the AccuQuilt die, it would make my life a little easier. And so I purchased it. Now, I have not yet used it. It's still in its wrapper, but I intend to take some scrap fabric out and make one test block to see how that goes. I have one here called For Grandmother Miller Table Runner. This was a kit I bought back early fall when we went on our little London trip, where we went around to all the stores in London, Ontario area, and I bought something from all of them. And this was a kit I saw in one of those particular stores, and it's cute, and it's kind of Christmassy, so I can get a head start on some Christmas projects as well. And that's something else I want to do this year. I'm thinking in the back of my head, maybe every other project, after I've finished a major project, I'll do something that is a more Christmas geared project. Because, you know, I started my Christmas sewing in August and I was still doing it in December. And I was sick of Christmas. Yeah, I'm spending almost 6 months, well, 5 months anyways, working on Christmas projects. It's a little much. I have another kit here. I have several kits actually that I picked up that I want to do. Desert Sunrise kit. That came with all the fabrics. That's one that I bought on that trip. I believe it came from K&A Studio. So I want to do that. Something called Doodle Doo, which I have had for a long time. It is a collage quilt. I've never done a collage quilt, so that's going to be something new this following year that I want to try. Something called the Confetti Kit. It's another kit. I've had it for a while. And then there is something I have had since almost day one when I got into quilting. I bought a, not a kit so per se, but a system for creating a Lone Star quilt. Now, I have made Lone Star quilts since then, but at that point in time, I had not. And I was really afraid of Y seams and things like this. So this is a kit of templates, basically, and a procedure for doing paper piecing to make a Lone Star. Maybe this will be the year that I will get to that project. Like I said, it's been sitting on my shelf for 4 years, 5 years. Yeah. Then, of course, there's Solar Flare. Now, I showed you that. It features all K-Facet fabrics. It was an expensive kit, but I'm looking forward to doing it. I bought that on that trip as well to London. And yeah, that's definitely up there to do. Another thing that I want to make is a simpler quilt, and I have an AccuQuilt die for it, but it's called a bear paw quilt. Always want to make a bear paw quilt, and I don't really need an AccuQuilt die for it, but what the heck? They had one. So I'll look for a pattern for that, or I'll just make it up and do a bear paw. Now, another one that I bought an AccuQuilt die for that I want to really make is the Mariner's Compass. Now, this past year, I bought a set of templates and a system with books and everything. Cost me over $250 Canadian from someone called Robin Ruth. and she has a whole bunch of tutorial videos that go along with her products and to help you make a mariner's compass. Now, her system will make a variety of sizes and complicated mariner compass blocks. Um, but when I saw that AccuQuilt had a die, I thought, let's start with something like that, something that probably is easier to do than these templates that I bought. We'll see how that all works out. I've got a couple of quilts that have diamond in their title. Diamond Trip, Diamond Days. These are ones I have in project boxes. I've already picked out the fabric for them, and I just need to cut it and away to go. So those might be relatively quick projects. Also, another one called Star Crossed, same idea. Then there is a placemat and a table runner, which I just showed you in last week's video, that I had bought online from designs by Juju, I think, and one might be a Sweet Pea design. No, I think both of them were designs by Juju, and they're an in the hoop project, and both of them would be probably appropriate for Christmas. So again, here's where I'm working into my plans some Christmas projects, so I'm not overwhelmed, in the second half of the year with Christmas projects. There are a couple of large quilt slash wall hanging projects. I've had these for a while. I bought them from OESD, which is an Ombra online embroidery pattern supplier. These are in the hoop projects, and they're ones that aren't a top priority because they always take a long time. They're sort of like that bookshelf quilt or wall hanging that I just showed you. Yeah, we'll see, but they're on my list. Of course, I have a block of the month to finish up, which I haven't got all the months for it because it's running into 2023, and that's the quilt with lots of applique on it, the Color Splash quilt, and I need to get on with that. And I need to quilt Mosaic Stars, which I'm hoping I will have done before the new year. With that, and Stars of Wonder, which I have been working on in bits and pieces when I've gone to those sew days at the club with Walter. So this is in my list right now. I will probably add to this list. Will I get all of this done? No, but I'm very well organized with my little app here right now, and that will help. That will help. I think the thing is about planning for the new year is right in the first of the new year, we get all gung ho about all the things we're going to do, and then life gets in the way or things change, right? And let's accept that. That I will accept that. I may not get these all done. I may be like, I have squirrel attention, so I'll see something I really like and I want to work on that too. So we'll see how far I get on this list. This really isn't a list that's supposed to create pressure. It's just supposed to keep me organized. And so my suggestion to you is it doesn't hurt to write down somewhere, whether you use it in an app or whether you do it in a little notebook or whether you put it on your computer or on a spreadsheet, whatever. But I think it helps you feel less overwhelmed about what you want to do or what you want to accomplish in the new year. We'll see. I'll come back in a year's time and let you know how I did on this list. So I do have for you an interview this week with a male quilter. He's kind of new on the scene for YouTube, but he is not new to the world of quilting. I believe he said he's been crafting since for 14 years. So, or was it 2014 he started? Well, either way, it's in the interview. This is Russ Rice from Quilt Meets World. That's his YouTube channel. And it was a great interview. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. It's a little longer than most of my interviews, but Russ has a lot to say that was very, very interesting. And so I just could not edit him because it was very good. So here's a little teaser for that interview. Was there anybody in your family who influenced you? Do you have any quilters in your family?
I don't have quilters in the family. My grandmother, she, when we were younger, made us all, I'll call it security blankets. So that was the only thing that she made blanket related. we did, or she did do a lot of garment sewing. One of my sisters, she only had clothes that was made for my grandmother at one point. So there was that. My mom, I know, made at least one quilt because it was on my bed growing up. Uh, it it was put together a little weirdly because it was some sort of poly batting that she sewed directly into the seams,
Oh,
and there was never a backing put onto it.
and there is a link in the show notes below for the interview. I put it up today. It's up there already. So enjoy and support Russ. His YouTube channel is Quilt Meets World. Um, I'm hoping that through this interview that I will send more subscribers his way as well because it's very well worth it. And yeah, check him out, please. Okay, so that takes me to online fabric stores, quilting stores, and this is one again I'm going to really butcher the name. It is called Meerkat Shweshwe. I don't know, but anyways, here's my review. This week's online quilt store is one that has a name that I have a great deal of difficulty saying. It is called Meerkat Shweshwe. Maybe. Sorry to the owners of this store if I've mispronounced that. But it says produced in South Africa. So I think what the suggestion is here is that many of their fabrics have a South Africa or Africa appeal. So let's take a look. This is their first page. It says we ship 3 cats Shawashwi fabric from Canada to you worldwide. Okay. In a nutshell, proudly South African, more than an online fabric store. The Bolton and the beautiful, the Shawashwi saga. I'm sorry, I just don't not sure how to pronounce that. They have featured products showing up here. I suspect that these fabrics are going to be a little bit pricier, but I also think that they're very unusual. They are located in Elora, Ontario, Canada, which is west of me, about 2 hours west of me. Um, I've never been to this store, so I'm really interested in seeing what they have to offer. So let's go to their store and products, new kits, patterns for free, fact quarters, half meters, running meters and yardage, plain skirt panels, stripe prints. Let's go to the meters and yardage. And yes, they have some very interesting fabric. These mandalas are really, really interesting. And they've got a lot. They've got 15 pages of these. So let's check out the prices. Let's go for this. It's 24. And let's see. I think that's for a meter. There's a little thing here. If I click on that, no, that just went back. Okay. So I guess that's their price per uh, meter. Oh, here we go. Width. 36 inches before washing. Okay, fabrics are a little shorter. Usually the width of your fabric is anywhere from 40 to 42 inches. So yeah, a little bit pricier. And I have a feeling the reason they're that size is because they come from South Africa, and that's probably what their standard is. Um, they have others at $22 a meter. I'm still not absolutely sure whether it's a meter or a yard because they're calling it both running meters per and yardage. So I don't know. Um, and it doesn't say here. So, anyways, price wise, yes, pricey, but because it's a specialty item. Um, let's take a look at what's new. And they have quite a few things. There's some really nice looking fabrics here. Like, oh, that indigo and turquoise hibiscus, that's really nice. All right, so and they have a way of doing it by color as well. So there you go. So that's good. Now let's take a look at kits. Um, an arm bag These are all bags by the looks of things in kits, $28. I don't think that's necessarily out of the way for a kit with the fabric. They have lots. Let's just go into the middle and see. And they have quilts, small ones, large ones, and the prices for their quilts, given the fact that their fabric is the price that it is, these aren't terrible for kits, I don't think, depending on the size of the quilt. Like, for example, it's a baby quilt. Let's pick this one and just see, does it tell us 72 by 60 inches? Yeah, they're probably a good size lap, but still, they're very, very unique. So what else do we have that we can shop for here? Patterns. They got some free ones. That's kind of an interesting one. Canadian flag with a house in it. They've got some patterns for purses. They seem to have a number of free patterns, and the ones that aren't free are not terribly expensive. Mind you, they are for table runners. Actually, most of their prices on their patterns seem very, very reasonable. They get you on the cost of the fabric, I think. Fat quarters. So if you want to sample some of the things, fat quarter bundles are, well, they vary in price. I guess that would depend on how many are in there, like 10 fat quarters here, 13, 8, 4. Yeah, they're a bit on the pricey side, but again, it's the nature of the fabric and where it comes from. Half meters, running meters, plain skirt panels. I'm not sure what skirt panels are. Okay, these are skirt panels. I'm assuming that's to make a skirt, which I don't do. Oh yeah, I see how this works. Okay. Somewhat, it's got that African flavor for it. Strip prints. Okay. There you go. You want a quick quilt? Get some of these strip prints here and just quilt them like whole cloth quilting. Okay, so they have some very interesting things. They also do wholesale. They have gift certificates. Now they have clubs block of the month. Block a month is free. You receive a free pattern every month by email. Suitable for all levels of ability, but also a great way to learn some new techniques. Completed quilt is 42 by 36, so it's kind of on the small side, but the patterns are free and they're interesting looking patterns. And they have a photo gallery of what some of those look like. That might be worth actually joining. You don't have to use their fabrics. You can use whatever you've got. Might be a great way to use up your stash. Okay, they have a Fat Quarter fan club. Receive a surprise of 4 fat quarters at the club rate in your mailbox every month. You save on the regular fabric rate and on shipping by joining the club. They mail it to you. And it doesn't really, it's not like it's a standard price. They're showing you the colors. They do it by colors. Cost per month includes 4 fat quarters, relevant taxes, other international rates provided on request. Shipping costs may be adjusted if postal rates increase. There may be shipping delays due to safety. Canada, $30, 2 to 5 days shipping. Okay, and they have the prices there. $30. That includes the shipping and handling for 4 fat quarters. That's pricey. That's pricey. I don't know if I'd be joining that. Okay. And they have a birthday club. Calendar events. They have online classes. Let's see what it says about those. Book your spots, a half day, half day. There's the dates. These are past classes. Some of them don't give dates, so maybe they're not running yet or have run and they haven't decided to do them again. I don't know. But that's nice that they have online classes and events. Let's see. Slide presentation, where they're doing them. Well, that's all in the past year. And more about online classes. Tell social. Okay, that's interesting. So that's sort of like a Zoom, looks like, get together every Friday, 11 a.m. to noon Eastern time. Oh, well, it's only 1 hour long. Hmm. Okay, well, they offer some things that are a little bit different than you see at other spots. About us, we already know they're in Elora, Ontario. Born in South Africa into a family of creative makers, stitchers, and knitters, it's no surprise that I love, can't say that word, this traditional 100% cotton print evokes many memories, the first of which is a little girl. Okay, so if you're interested in their background, they have fairly interesting backstory. And they even talk about pre-washing your fabrics. Okay, so Meerkat Shweshwe, I don't know if I'm getting any better at that, is a very interesting site. It might be worth checking out, especially if you're looking for something a little different, something a little unique. So, what's coming up? New Year's Day, January the 1st, 2023 at 8 a.m. start time, Eastern time. It's a sew day. People keep saying I need to change the word, so change it from sew day to craft day or creators day or something like that, because all are welcome no matter what you do. You know that, you've heard me say that many times. It's not just for sewists, it's not just for quilters, it's for everybody who creates whatever you create. So I thought we'd start off the new year with a blast, get started on those projects that we're resolved to do for the year. So as I said, it starts at 8 a.m. Eastern time, my time. But you can come and go as you please. For the people living out in the West Coast, it might be a little early in the morning for you, like because you're 3 hours behind us. So 5 a.m. I don't think you want to get up at 5 a.m. Although I have had some people do that. So, anyways, whenever you get here, you get here. Whenever you want to leave, you leave. The link is in the show notes below. It should be lots of fun. I got to sit down and plan what I'm going to do myself, what I'm working on that particular day. So, yeah, join us. Zoom link is in the show notes below. And just for those of you who've never joined up with one of those, we don't bite. Everybody is always very friendly, very supportive. So feel free to come along with us. I guarantee you're going to get something done. You're going to enjoy the fellowship we have, and you're going to learn too, because inadvertently we always learn from each other at this. And I always end up buying something because somebody shows me something that I must have. Talk about your group of enablers. But anyways, it's fun. I'm looking forward to it. Make it festive. Bring along some of those leftover Christmas goodies or something like that to nibble on while you're working away, or your hot chocolate, or maybe someone gave you a mug and a mug rug for Christmas. So here's an opportunity for you to get those out and use those gifts as well. And of course, there will still be Craft and Chat coming up the first Wednesday of January. Guess what? The first Wednesday of January. I guess I better start getting that. Yeah. I just remembered it. I have to put that up in my show notes for everything I do this week. It's coming on us pretty fast. So that will be what? Second, third, January 4th. That's the first Wednesday. So bang. This coming Sunday, January the 1st, is the sew day. And then bang, Wednesday, January the 4th, only 3 days later, is Craft and Chat. So yeah, I'll put that link in the show notes below as well. Okay, and of course, I will still continue throughout the new year, some pop-up sew days, and I'll have my sew, I should call it sew on demand. I call it sew/craft with me. Um, I think I'm going to change the name to Sew on Demand because that's the way I refer to it all the time, which is my permanent Zoom link that if I'm here by myself sewing away and I want company, I'll activate it. And if you're doing the same, you can click on it. And if I'm here, I'll let you in within under a minute. If it takes longer than a minute, it means I'm not here, kind of a thing. It's that one's a hit and miss. You never know. So, okay, that's it for me. Next time I see you, will be, well, if you come to the Sew Day, but if you don't, next time I put up one of these, the Idiot Quilter vlog, it'll be a brand new year. So I wish you the best for the new year. Let's hope that 2023 is much better than what we've gone through over the last few years, that we're on the mend, that we're on the ups, on the downside of the COVID curve and the whole bit, and life can return to whatever your normal is for it. And yeah, we'll see you soon. Bye bye for now.